These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
We will fucking kill you. Give it to your fucking pig, okay? We will kill you. You, okay? You fucking pig.
These are Canadian values.
Common sense, loony, that's my tune. Bringing truth to the red and white moon.
Personally, I am a man.
Welcome back to Common Sense Loony. I'm Rex, and we're diving into the stories shaping Canada with a no-nonsense take you won't get from the mainstream media. Today we've got a packed show, a chilling terrorism plot busted in Montreal, a bizarre mystery of a body found on a hospital roof in Laval, the escalating fight over free speech with a nurse's suspension in BC, and a Christian singer's cancelled concert, and a curious visit from the world's richest man. Plus, we'll unpack what Montreal's mayor cozying up to Prime Minister Mark Carney could mean for free expression. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about a serious story out of Montreal that's been making waves.
A minor will be in court tomorrow to face 3 terrorism-related charges. The RCMP says the teenager was arrested today in Côte-des-Neiges after someone tipped them off about the alleged plans for an attack.
It's a tip that came in at the Provincial Threat Coordination Center here at the RCMP. The investigation began in April 2025. What we know now is that he had pled allegiance to the Islamic State. He planned to do an attack on behalf of the Islamic State. And the investigation shows up to now that he was planning to get long guns, kind of a AK-47, to do mass casualties.
This kid, whose name we can't share because they're a minor, was allegedly planning a violent attack targeting Jewish people in the city. They were trying to get their hands on some AK-47 rifles and explosives, all in the name of supporting the Islamic State. Yeah, it's chilling. The RCMP got wind of this back in April after spotting some threatening posts on social media. They moved in fast, searched the suspect's home, and charged them with things like terrorism, participating in a terrorist group, and providing resources for terrorist acts. The police are still digging in, but they're saying this could have been a major disaster if they hadn't stepped in. So, good job, boys. Now, this wasn't just a random act. It ties into a bigger worrying trend in Canada. Anti-Semitism has been spiking, especially since the Israel-Hamas conflict kicked off on October 7, 2023. Let's look at the numbers. In 2022, before the conflict, Canada saw about 2,800 anti-Semitic incidents, things like harassment, vandalism, or threats. In 2023, that number shot up to nearly 5,800. That's a 109% jump. Fast forward to 2024, and it got worse. Over 6,200 incidents, the highest ever, averaging 17 a day. Things like harassment making up about half of it, vandalism like defaced synagogues at 34%, and even violent acts like assaults at 12%. In cities like Toronto and Montreal, where this arrest happened, it's been especially bad. Toronto alone saw anti-Semitic hate crimes double from 65 in 2022 to 135 in 2023. And they're up another 19% this year. It's a real problem, and this Montreal case feels like part of that wave. Now, let's connect this to something we talked about a couple episodes back. Gun control in Canada. Remember how we said Canada's gun laws are already super strict? Assault rifles like the AK-47 this kid was after are straight up banned for civilians, no exceptions, unless you're law enforcement. Our point was the real issue isn't legal guns, it's illegal ones. About 95% of guns used in crimes in Canada are smuggled in from the US, where it's way easier to buy stuff like AK-47s. This Montreal suspect, no way they were getting those rifles legally. They'd have to go through the black market, like smugglers sneaking guns across the border or shady deals with criminal networks. So piling on more gun laws for law-abiding Canadians would not have stopped this. What we need is better border checks, more scanners, more agents, more focusing on those illegal shipments. That's where the problem starts. And here's the bigger picture. Crime, especially terrorism, seems to be creeping up in Canada. This Montreal plot isn't a one-off. We've seen other cases from synagogue vandalism to threats tied to global conflicts. It's like some people are bringing their fights here, and it's tearing at our communities. If you're coming to Canada, leave those conflicts at the door. This country is supposed to be about building a life together, not fueling hate, not fueling violence. Let's keep it that way. This Montreal case is a wake-up call. It's about staying vigilant, supporting communities under threat, and tackling the real source of crime, like those smuggled guns, without knee-jerk solutions that don't fit. Let's keep talking about what's really going on. All right, next up. Picture this. A quiet Tuesday morning at Cité de la Santé Hospital in Laval, just outside Montreal. Hospital staff are going about their day when, out of nowhere, they find a body. On the roof. The roof. A man in his 40s just lying there dead. How does this even happen? It's like something straight out of a crime show, but this is real life, and it's got everyone scratching their heads. Laval police got the call around 9:35 a.m. from hospital employees who were probably freaking out. I mean, you're just doing your job, maybe grabbing some equipment or checking maintenance area, and bam, there's a body. The guy was pronounced dead right there on the scene, and police are saying they don't know much yet. They're working with the coroner's office, and an autopsy is coming to figure out what caused his death. But come on, a body on a hospital roof? That's not where people just end up by accident. Here's where it gets weirder. Nobody's saying how this guy got there. Did he climb up? Was he placed there? Was it foul play, an accident? The hospital is keeping tight-lipped, just saying they're cooperating with the cops and that patient safety is their top priority. Fair enough, but that doesn't answer the big question. What the heck happened? Was this guy a patient, a worker, or just some random person? And why the roof of all places? It's not like it's an easy place to stumble into. Like, is this a mystery that's going to unravel into something bigger, or just a tragic fluke? For now, the police are digging, the hospital's staying quiet, and we're all left wondering, how does this man end up dead on a hospital roof? Hopefully that autopsy gives us some answers, because this is one strange story that's all got us saying, what the? All right, and our next story. I mentioned a few days ago that I took a break from X for a while, and when I came back, it was like stepping into a different world. After Blue Sky emerged, all that far-left nonsense seemed to vanish overnight. Poof, gone. But now, it's back, and it's bigger, louder, and more unhinged than ever before. Take what happened after Pierre Poilievre won the by-election in Battle River Crowfoot. My feed absolutely exploded with liberal tears and rage. We're talking posts calling him a liar, accusing him of cheating, and fuming that he shouldn't even be allowed to run in a riding he doesn't live in. One user ranted, "Pierre is an absolute disgrace to the democratic process. He has rage-farmed, bashed our country, lies, and misleads voters daily." Another said, "Everyone laughs at Pierre. He's an effing loser and stinks of desperation." The rage was all over the board, and it hasn't calmed down one bit. It's like they just can't accept that he cruised to victory with over 80% of the vote in a conservative stronghold. And now, Pierre drops a post. A nurse with a spotless track record gets fined and suspended for pointing out there are two genders, and for praising world-renowned author and women's rights advocate J.K. Rowling. This is authoritarian censorship. We must reform free speech and free thinking in our free country. Then, instantly, chaos from the left ensued. Hate poured in from every direction. One reply snarled, "Amy Ham should knock it off with the hate speech. Pierre Poilievre should crawl back into his hole until his next attempt at being a Trump-light candidate for the Maple MAGA Canada haters." And yet another called J.K. Rowling a noted bigot and labeled Pierre as un-Canadian. It's non-stop vitriol, all because he dared to defend basic free speech. Now, let's talk about the Amy Ham story he's referring to.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, standing beside Amy Ham, a mother of two young boys, a hardworking BC nurse educator who's been deemed transphobic for her off-duty advocacy for things like safe spaces for women and children. Now, I'm catching up with Amy just after quite the quasi-judicial trial, a disciplinary hearing that was brought on against Ham by her licensing body.
This is a clear case of injustice. Amy's a registered nurse in BC with a flawless professional record. No patient complaints, nothing. But off duty, she spoke out in support of J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter author who's become a fierce advocate for women's rights. Amy pointed out biological realities. There are two sexes, and she argued that trans women, who are biologically male, should not share intimate spaces like dressing rooms, washrooms, or prisons with biological women. For that, the BC College of Nurses and Midwives hit her with a 1-month suspension and ordered her to pay nearly $94,000 in costs, calling her statements discriminatory and derogatory. But come on, justice for Amy here. Her comments caused zero actual damage to the trans community beyond maybe offending some feelings. No patients were hurt. No one was targeted personally. She was just voicing common sense concerns about privacy, safety, and fairness for women and girls. How is that evil or even strange? In a free country, shouldn't we protect speech like this instead of punishing it with authoritarian censorship? Amy's fighting back with an appeal, and honestly, she deserves to win. This is not about hate. It's about reality and freedom. Well, free speech and expression seems to be the soup du jour today, so let's keep it going with this one. American Christian singer Sean Foyt, known for his outspoken support of the Make America Great Again movement, just got his concert permit denied in West Kelowna, BC, over public safety concerns. This isn't the first time he's faced pushback in Canada, and it's got a lot of people worried about freedom of speech and expression. We actually covered this in an earlier episode. First, let's recap what happened in Montreal. Earlier this summer, Foyt was going to perform there, but the city canceled his event, citing, you guessed it, safety concerns. Montreal's mayor, Valérie Plante, didn't hold back. She publicly criticized Foyt's views, especially his comments against LGBTQ+ community and abortion. The city even slapped a $7,000 fine on the church that was hosting them, saying the event violated local bylaws. Foyt still held a worship event on private land, but the message was clear. His voice wasn't welcome in Montreal's public spaces. Now, we fast forward to West Kelowna. The city, with input from the RCMP and fire department, said Foyt's concert at Memorial Park posed too many risks. They pointed to his event organizer's safety plan, saying it didn't cut it. But here's the kicker. Foyt's been outspoken about how other events like pride parades or protests seem to get a pass, while his worship services get shut down. He posted on social media calling it wild that Christian mayors are canceling his events while allowing others. This whole situation is raising alarm. Freedom of speech and expression in Canada feels like it's under attack. When cities can block events or fine churches over someone's controversial opinions, it's a slippery slope. The Canadian Constitution Foundation even said these cancellations violate Foyt's charter rights. James Turk, a free expression expert at Toronto Metropolitan University, called it a red flag when public officials start picking and choosing who gets to speak. It's getting scary to think what this means for anyone with a strong opinion in Canada. Are we still free to speak our minds, or only if it fits the approved narrative? So what do you think? Is it about safety, or is it about silencing voices? Let's keep the conversation going while we can. And the reason I highlighted Montreal was so I could follow up with this story.
It was an honor to receive the Prime Minister Carney for the first time here in Montreal. Not only am I the first mayor to get a one-on-one with the Prime Minister, so I think it shows his interest into my leadership, the work I've been doing, but also the City of Montreal.
The City of Montreal literally rolled out the red carpet for Prime Minister Mark Carney on Wednesday for his first official visit since taking office. Outside of City Hall, Carney was greeted by Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante, as well as supporters and protesters.
Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante just welcomed Prime Minister Mark Carney to City Hall, and from the looks of it, they're getting along great. According to the report, they chatted about fiscal promises, signed the guest book, and seemed totally in sync. But let's zoom in onto what this could mean, especially with Plante's track record on expression and Carney eyeing a controversial online bill. So first there's Plante from that Sean Foyt drama. She's the one who slammed the Christian singer's views on LGBTQ+ issues and abortion, then hitting the hosting church with a $7,000 fine for breaking bylaws. It felt like a direct shot at shutting down voices she doesn't agree with, all under the guise of safety or rules. It was an attack on free speech. And now she's cozying up to Carney? That's raising eyebrows. Carney, as Prime Minister, is part of the Liberal push to revive or rethink Bill C-63, the Online Harms Act. This bill, which died earlier this year but is getting a fresh look over this summer, aims to crack down on harmful online content like hate speech and child exploitation. It sounds good on paper, but opponents say it's a censorship machine, letting the government slap huge fines on platforms, force content removals, and even bring back human rights complaints for hate speech that could chill everyday opinions.
What does Justin Trudeau mean when he says the word hate speech? He means speech he hates.
Poilievre unloaded, calling the Prime Minister woke and authoritarian.
I point out the irony that someone who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist, who dressed up in hideous racist costumes so many times he says he can't remember them all, should then be the arbiter on what constitutes hate.
Carney's already hinted at bringing back some version of it, and experts are calling it a threat to free expression. If Plante's history of cracking down locally lines up with Carney's national plans, what's next for Canada? More fines for wrong views? Tighter online controls that silence debate? Plante in power already feels dangerous when she's picking who gets to speak in her city. Aligned with Carney and the feds, it could mean a scary slide toward less freedom for all of us. This is the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. What do you guys think? And our last story for the day is about the richest man in the world, Elon Musk.
Billionaire and Tesla CEO Elon Musk was spotted in a small BC fishing town over the weekend, and the locals were buzzing. But what exactly was Musk up to? Here's what we know. Elon Musk touched down Saturday in Bella Bella, BC, a town of about 1,500 people. The billionaire landed at the local airport, but he didn't stick around town. After getting off his private jet, he jumped on a helicopter to an unknown location. He came back to the airstrip Monday and flew out.
A sleepy fishing village in British Columbia, Bella Bella, where folks are used to seeing the odd celebrity passing through for a fishing trip. Maybe a movie star, maybe a retired hockey player. But last weekend, the tiny town of about 1,000 people got a visitor no one expected. Elon Musk, the world's richest man and, yes, a Canadian citizen through his mom, May Musk. Airport shuttle driver Sean Carter, who's lived there for nearly 9 years, didn't think much of it when a private jet landed on Saturday. Just another rich guy, right? But then, commotion. People whipped out their phones, snapping pics like crazy. It was Elon Musk, strolling off the plane with a kid on his shoulders, heading for a helicopter. Rumor has it he was visiting a fancy private resort nearby, maybe owned by media heir James Murdoch. Carter tried to play paparazzi with his big zoom camera when Musk left on Monday, but Elon wasn't thrilled about the attention. Locals say it's rare for someone of Musk's fame to show up in their quiet corner of the Great Bear Rainforest. This is a small village, Carter said. Seeing the world's richest guy? That's a big deal, love him or hate him. Speaking of hate, Ontario's Premier Doug Ford must be fuming he missed his shot to heckle Elon Musk in person. You know, Doug's got it out for Elon, canceled that Starlink deal just to be petty. Too bad Ford didn't know Musk was in Canada. He'd probably have shown up with a megaphone and a bucket of water balloons to toss at him. Anyway, Musk's jet zipped from Vancouver to Seattle, then San Jose, leaving Bella Bella buzzing with stories. What was he doing there? Nobody knows for sure, but a place like that, a visit from a guy like Musk, is the talk of the town. That's a wrap for today's Common Sense Loony. We've covered some heavy ground. The RCMP stopping a teen's terrifying terrorism plot in Montreal aimed at Jewish communities, a strange and unanswered mystery of a man's body found on a Laval hospital roof, and the growing free speech battles, from Amy Ham's unjust suspension for supporting J.K. Rowling to Sean Fute's concert getting axed in West Kelowna. We also touched on Montreal's mayor aligning with Mark Carney, raising red flags about censorship, and Elon Musk's surprise visit to Bella Bella that left locals buzzing. Thanks for joining me to cut through the noise with some common sense. If you like this, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and let me know what you think in the comments. In the meantime, stay strong, stay skeptical, and above all else, stay loony.
I'm here to cut through the haze, no disguise. Gonna open your eyes to politicians' lies. Canada's great, but led by wackos, it's true. Time for no nonsense, me and you. I'm the Common Sense Loony, hear my call. Ditch bingo night games, we'll fix it all. Common Sense Loony, that's my tune. Bringing truth to the red and white moon.
Personally, I am a man.